of Cajun Cardboard, coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with another Explore the Card episode, which you will see every Friday on the Luca Nation Network. Today is episode number 45. I can't believe it, almost a year's worth of Jordan parallels and inserts from the 90s. It's going to be a fantastic library. I don't know if we'll ever get to the end. There's so many fantastic Jordan cards from the 90s, but 45 after today will be in the books, so hopefully you guys enjoy it and appreciate it. And anybody who is hesitant about dipping their toes in the water when it comes to 90s Jordan cards, you got 45 episodes to go catch up on. Check out the Luca Nation Network under my playlist for Cajun Cardboard, or go check out the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel for about the first 40 episodes. Today's episode is about this card, the 1997 Skybox Z-Force Quick Strike, an extremely condition-sensitive card, an extremely difficult, rare card, extremely difficult to grade, I should say, very condition-sensitive, not the rarest card out there, as we'll see in just a bit when we start to take a little bit of a closer look, but this is the card, and this is how it begins. So let's get cranking. As always, we like to look at the trading card database website so we can figure out what set this card comes from. It comes from the 1997 Skybox Z-Force set. This is a set that consists of 210 cards. There was a Series 1 and a Series 2 release, which was not uncommon for the 90s. The cards appear in no particular order, as you can see on your screen. It's not like they're alphabetical or team alphabetical or anything like that. Penny Hardaway is the first card. It's got a lot of stars at the beginning, which is good to see. But in this base checklist, Jordan actually has two cards. Card number 23 of the base set, which I can show you on your screen here. There we go. Or card number 190. Let's see. I think it's going to be here, down at the bottom. Let's look at card number 190 is the other Jordan base card right there. And this is his, affectionately referred to as his Superman card, because it says Superman, obviously Superman with a Z for Z-Force, kind of a play on words there. I love this card. I think this card looks great. But the cards in this set, the rookies are randomly inserted. If we click rookies, you can see here, the rookies are randomly inserted from cards number 111 all the way through 184, starting with the great Tim Duncan, greatest power forward that ever lived, all the way through Danny Fortson, who was an absolute monster at the University of Cincinnati and a National Player of the Year candidate. The big rookies in this 1997 Z-Force set, and every 1997 set, is of course going to be Tim Duncan and Tracy McGrady. Although at the time, I can promise you, Tim Thomas, Ron Mercer, Keith Van Horn, all of those guys were probably very highly sought after. Not so much for Kelvin Cato and a few of the other guys in there. But Jordan, the card number 23 that we looked at for Jordan is a PSA 10 $130 card. The card number 190 is a PSA 10 $120 card. So nothing crazy there on those two Jordan base cards in Skybox Z-Force. But let's look at the insert sets that are here. We're going to talk about the Quick Strike today, but I always like to look at these other insert sets. A couple of them that stand out that feature Jordan are big men on court, Boss, and also there's a much rarer Super Boss, as you can see right there. There is the Quick Strike, which we're going to discuss today. There is the probably most well-known Rave Reviews, which we've talked about before. And just to show you what that Jordan looks like, there's the Jordan Rave Reviews. That's a humongous card in 10 condition. And then there is the Slam Cam, which is another really popular insert set from 1997 Skybox Z-Force. There's only two parallel sets, the Rave, number to 399, and then the Super Rare, Super Rave, it's called Super because it's super rare, Super Rave, serial number to 50. And so you can get into the 5 figures when you're looking for the Jordan gems of those parallels from 1997 Skybox Z-Force. There are 12 inserts from Quick Strike. Let's pull up the set that we're talking about today. There it is. It starts with Sharif Abdur-Rahim and ends with Hall of Famer Chris Webber. Of the 12 players in this set, 6 of them are Hall of Famers. So a 50% Hall of Fame rate, not the highest, not the most impressive. As far as imposters, as always, really Antoine Walker is the only imposter. But at the time, he was a problem and he was a good player. volume shooter, I should say, but a pretty good player. Damon Stoudemire obviously didn't pan out the way everybody suspected he would after he came out of the gates gangbusters his rookie year. And then the rest of the guys were damn good players, whether they're Hall of Famers or not. They ended up having really good careers. The Hall of Famers, obviously, you can see on this checklist right here. But we're here to talk about Jordan, and we're here to talk about this card. I always like to share with you the card that I have. This is a PSA 9 copy, and it's really not a great one. I'll be quite honest with you. The bottom left corner isn't perfect, and then this is actually a scratch on the surface. And this is the primary problem that I've seen on these cards, is trying to find these. This crease right here that you can see running vertically on your screen is actually on the slab. It's not on the card itself. It's just kind of like a streak on the slab. It might be a scratch. I'm not sure. But this right here is actually a defect and a blemish. That's the issue you're going to get with this particular card, is that the surface tends to flake away almost in a similar manner to the PMGs, where it just kind of flakes off the top, and there's no hiding it because it's a real bright, vibrant white silver type color, and when it comes off, it's black underneath. And so if you've got this kind of flaking or flecking, you're gonna see it. It just stands out and it's very noticeable. This card that you're looking at, this is my copy. I have a PSA 9 placeholder. We'll talk more about what my plans are with this card going forward, as I always do. But the quick strikes were inserted 1 in 96 Series 2 packs, and MJ, as one of 12 players in the set, is therefore 1 in 1,152 pack odds. So I know that sounds high, but by Jordan standards, that's not the craziest. But still, 1,152 packs of Skybox Z-Force would be fun to open, I must admit. But it would also be extremely, extremely expensive. We've got the PSA 10 pulled up on Card Ladder, but first I want to show you what the people want. And so we've got the pop table pulled up on your screen. Hopefully you guys can see that. If you've got the print screen option, go ahead and print it. And if you don't, just hold your phone sideways and take a picture of it so you've got it saved, or you can always come back to this video on the Luca Nation Network and revisit this table. Things that stand out to me on your pop table, I've always got the 2 Gem Mint grades for PSA and BGS, and then the 2 Mint grades for PSA and BGS. What really stands out to me is look at the similarity in the pop, the total graded, the percentage gem rate, and then the sold price for the PSA 10 and the BGS 9.5. This is very rare, guys and gals, where these line up almost identical like that. It's very unusual. Usually collectors and investors have a preference for PSA over BGS, and or PSA or BGS will grade harder or weaker. This is almost like, it's like an identical mirror image. 16 pop PSA, 15 pop BGS, total graded exactly the same, percentage total exactly the same, gem rate. The sold price is very, very similar, and that's really just a timing issue. If you keep scrolling, the next thing that stands out to me is going to be the number sold during the last 6 months. The Gem Mints, 1 in the last 6 months. So if you're looking for a Gem Mint like I am, hand raised, good luck finding one. That is the only one that sold. It was a BGS 9.5. It sold for $49.20, and that is the highest sold price in history. If you look at the PSA 10, the last one that sold, again, the highest sold price in history. There's just not many of these out there, and they're in the hands of collectors, obviously, because you're not seeing Gem Mint PSA 10s or Gem Mint BGS 9.5s come to market. And the last 2 that did come to market, people were fighting over them and therefore paid the highest price ever paid for those cards. The 9s, on the other hand, are a little bit more available, right? A combined 139 of those. 6 have sold over the last 6 months, so about 1 a month. Interestingly enough, you know, the gem rate for PSA is higher than the gem rate for BGS. If you go all the way to the right and you look at that pop increase, this is measuring from April of 2021. You can see there's been 1 PSA 10 added. There have been 0 BGS 9.5 added, but if you look at the PSA 9 versus the BGS 9, it's very clear people are running this up the PSA flagpole. They're trying to hit PSA gems, not BGS 9.5 gems, despite the fact that they have the exact same gem percentage. Maybe that's why, because usually there's a disparity in price, but if you go back to the sold price, the last BGS 9.5 outsold the last PSA 10. So this is kind of a wonky little pop and price table, a little bit different than what we normally see. But as you can see, 10 times the number of PSA 9s have been added to the Pop Report over the last maybe 15 months compared to the BGS 9. So that's just a little bit unusual. There are no BGS 10s. There are no BGS 10 black labels. As we discussed, 31 combined gems exist of this card. That is a very low number. Remember, we're always trying to keep that number under 100. That's kind of what establishes true rarity in gem mint condition. That's kind of my threshold. If there's less than 100, it really means something. 31 is a lot less than 100. It's about a third of it by my Cajun math. So pretty rare card in gem mint condition. Pretty rare card generally speaking, to be honest with you. If you combine the PSA pop, it's under 100. If you combine the BGS pop, it's under 100. So not a lot of these out there. And then as we discussed, combined, only one gem mint copy has sold in the last 6 months, which just kind of buffers and substantiates my claim that it's a very rare card in gem mint condition. What's on eBay? We always want to look at what's on eBay. So those of you who are looking for the card can go search. When I plug in 1997 Quick Strike, and again, just to be clear, it is 2 words, Quick Strike. You're going to see that 14 results come up. You've got a PSA 9 right in front of you. This is already with 10 hours left on Probstein, and this will have ended by the time you guys watch this. So my pop and price table is going to be a little skewed. This is already higher than the last PSA 9 that sold for $850. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's already pushing beyond the highest, most recent sale. And so we'll see where that one goes. Here's a raw one, an 8.5 SGC, a BGS 9, a raw one, not our stuff here, a PSA 8, a raw, another PSA 8, a BGS 8.5, a PSA 9 for $14.99 is a little bit steep. This looks like some kind of strange buyback autograph Quick Strike, which is interesting. I don't know if that's real or not, but I don't have 100 grand to find out. And then another 8.5. So that's what we can see when we search for the card. When we search for the actual box, remember, this Quick Strike is pulled out of Series 2. So we've got a Series 2 retail, Series 2 hobby, Series 1 here. So that one's not going to count. So you've got a retail here. You've got a retail for $800. You've got 2 hobby boxes here for $23.99 and $24.99. Let's talk about the card itself, though. Let's look at the front of the card. It's a beautiful card. Like I said, the flecking and the flaking of the surface is really your primary concern. You'll even get that flaking on the back as well. In fact, if you scroll down here, you see it went all the way through. So it shows through for whatever reason. I'm not an expert on the card. I've never actually held the card raw in my hand, but these cards are not easy to grade. So the surface is the primary concern with this card. But as always, we like to read the back, or I like to narrate the back for you. And this is what it says. It says, the heart and soul of 5 NBA champion Chicago Bulls clubs, Michael Jordan personifies the term most valuable player. Speed, quickness, instincts, lift, ball handling, effort, and desire. These are all hallmarks of Jordan's offensive game. He has led the NBA in scoring 9 times, a league record, and his airness holds the game's all-time highest career scoring average during the regular season, 31.7 PPG, and postseason, 33.6 PPG. That's one thing that you got to remember about Jordan, is he lifted his game to a whole nother level when scoring in the playoffs it did not come nearly as easily to most star players as it did during the regular season. He actually increased his scoring average almost a full 2 points per game. What do I own and what is my plan? Well, you're staring at it. I own the PSA 9. As I said earlier, this is a placeholder. I'm looking to upgrade this card. So I am a buy. I'd really like to buy a PSA 10, given that it's the same price as a BGS 9.5. But I would be very, very happy with either. I'm certainly willing to pay the current going price of $4,500 to $5,000. I have no problem with that. I definitely am looking to upgrade this card. Just good luck finding one. If you see one, let me know. I'd be happy to go down if it's a vetted seller and a solid seller and fork it over. It's just really hard to come across. We always look at whether the cards in each of these 4 grades are high end, grail, mid, or low end. All 4 are technically low end right now. My guess is the next PSA 10 that shows up, it could push over that $5,000 threshold into that mid end, which is what I consider $5,000 to $10,000. That's what I consider mid end. I think the next BGS 9.5, depending on the subgrades, could do the same. It looks like we could top over that $5,000 mark the next time one of these shows up. I'll just go out on a limb and just tell you, I'll let the cat out of the bag. I'd be willing to pay a little bit over $5,000 to chase one of these in gem mint condition, just because they come across my radar so rarely, as you can see, with only one combined gem mint selling in the last year. What are some other similar cards in the same, $4,200 to $4,900 price range? Well, I've got 3 pulled up on Card Ladder, so let's do some comparisons. The Quick Strike is the card we're looking at today, but a card of similar value is the 1992 Beam Team members only parallel. So this is a parallel insert. Then another one is the 1997 Metal Universe Titanium PSA 10. You guys know how I feel about titanium. And then lastly, it's the 1997 Topps Rockstars Refractor, which I very recently featured on an episode of Explore the Card. So those are the 3 cards that I've got as comparisons for the card that we're looking at today. What order would I select these cards? Well, I would take the Quick Strike number 1, and it's quite simply because the pop is 16. And so in PSA 10 condition, that just makes that card incredibly rare. And just the card that's most difficult to replace or even find, that's usually the card I'm going to take first. It's not always the case, but from an aesthetic standpoint, I honestly like this one more than the other 3 as well. And I really do like the other 3 cards, just to be clear. But I would go Quick Strike PSA 10 number 1. Of course, I only have the 9. And then I would go Beam Team members only. Second, even though it's a much higher pop of 66, I just really like this. This is one of Jordan's first big inserts, and probably, along with Scoring Kings, one of his most recognizable first or second year inserts, the 1992 Stadium Club. I have the Beam Team regular, but in the members only, I do not have that in gem condition, so I would probably go with that one next. That card is steady. The last 5 sales have been, right at $4,500, $5,000, something like that. So maybe a shade over $5,000. And then the card that I would go for next would be this Titanium, because it is also a very low pop 27 in PSA 10 condition. The last one sold for $5,100, but Card Ladder estimates probably worth about $4,230. The last 2 have sold for $5,500 and $5,100. So that one's on a little bit of a downward trend. But again, 2 data points, and you just don't know what the card looked like. And not all Jordan PSA 10s are the same. And then the last card on the list, but by no means is it a card that I wouldn't want, is the 1997 Topps Rockstars Refractor, which is just an incredibly beautiful die-cut refractor of Jordan with Bobby Jackson and Corliss Williamson in the background watching him shoot his patented fadeaway. And this card sells a little bit more often. It's a pop 59, but it's sold a little bit more often than even the Beam Team members only, which is sold 5 times in the last year. This Rockstar refractor is actually sold 10 times in the last year for an average of $5,400. So that is the order that I would take them. Quick Strike 1, Beam Team members only 2, Titanium right here 3, and Rockstars Refractor 4. I'd like all 4 of those in my collection, and I do have some of those in my collection already, so it's a good start. On the Cajun Cardboard scale of Jordan card relevance, where do I put this Quick Strike? I put it as probably a 6.5. That's just where I've got this card. It's not the rarest card in the world, but the fact that it's so difficult to grade and it looks so damn good kind of raises it on my 1 to 10 scale. But again, like I said, the odds are about average for a meaningful Jordan insert, and then the price point is very affordable. The issue is just finding the damn thing in gem mint condition, with only one of them selling in the last 6 months. Again, you can always go pick up a BGS 9 or a PSA 9, especially if you want to pay a couple $100 over comps. Easy to put that in your collection. Finding the PSA 10 for a grade snob like me, or BGS 9.5 for a grade snob like me, is really the tougher part. So that's it for today's episode, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If there's anything else you want to know about this Quick Strike, don't hesitate to message me. Again, I do these videos to kind of educate the hobby on the Michael Jordan cards from the 90s. By no means do I consider myself the foremost expert. I get an education every day talking with Michael Jordan collectors that are vastly more experienced than me. So I am definitely not a teacher speaking to students. I am learning every time I do one of these videos, and that's part of the reason why I've stayed consistent and I put these videos out every Monday, because I want to learn more about these cards. I want to learn more about the products that they come from. I want to learn more about the history of the prices and the availability of these cards. And then I want to read the backs of these cards, because I like to read about corny stuff from the 90s because I'm old, and the 90s meant a lot to me. Even though I didn't collect these cards cards in the 90s, teardrop emoji. So thank you guys, as always, for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you like the video, please hit the like button, hit the bell icon so you get notified. You're going to get one of these every single Friday from me consistently on the Luca Nation Network. Like I said, if you want to see the first 40 episodes, go back to the Cajun Cardboard channel, go to the playlist and search Michael Jordan content, explore the card, and you can just watch and watch and watch. You can binge watch 40 in a row if you want to. They're there for you and they'll be there forever. I'm trying to create a little database, a nice Michael Jordan library. And again, part of the reason that I started making these episodes was because I have such nostalgic fondness for watching, Chris and Christina and Brian on House of Jordans when they used to talk about Jordan cards. And that's when I fell in love and I started doing a little bit more research, and I realized that's kind of the pathway that I wanted to take in this hobby. And that's when I sort of veered into the Jordan world and just dove in, man, and just threw fear to the side and just started educating myself and asking dumb questions. And I was really shocked at how receptive and helpful and embracing the Jordan collectors in this hobby are. They really did take me in as one of their own. And hopefully I'm doing the same for other people, because I know how important it was for me to ask dumb questions to people to learn more about the cards, so that I made sure I'm buying the right cards at the right prices. Anyway, that's enough of that. Thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. Enjoy your weekend, and peace.